Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are proud that we have more than 1,000 new subscribers in the last month, and that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
Over 500,000 of you have watched this show in the last 90 days. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community.
There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBT community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We will produce the 25th anniversary of our Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 anchors will host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Bonnie Builder. She's the premier South Florida bodybuilding drag queen and the forever reigning Mixed Mary's Wilton Manors. Hey, Bon, so our foundation recognizes LGBTQ Giving Awards at Broward Center on February 8th. Tell me what's happening.
I shall. Our Fund Foundation's South Florida LGBTQ Philanthropy Awards, presented by Bank of America Private Bank, will take place on February 8th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Tickets are available for $75. This 6th annual cocktail reception and award ceremony will honor outstanding individuals and organizations. The 2025 awardees, including the Wharton Foundation, named Philanthropist of the Year, Melba DeLeon, will receive the Commitment to a Cause Award. Jeff Delmay will be honored with the Next Generation Philanthropy Award. More information is available at ourfund.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're just looking at yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love the Our Fun Philanthropy Awards every year. It's a fantastic time at the Broward Center, and the fact that they are honoring such incredible people. Every year they honor incredible people, but Miss Melba De Leon is like the superstar volunteer, all right? You can't go to an event without seeing her smiling face in whatever t-shirt she's representing that event for, right? Being the most and being so incredible. So I love that they're spotlighting her. And also Jeff is also an incredible human. And, so $75 for an awesome time at the Broward Center. Get your tickets today. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Our Fun Foundation South Florida LGBTQ Philanthropy Awards on February 8th. Let's welcome anchor Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade float design, production, and casting. He's also a board member of the West Side Association. Larry, Wilton Manors is ready to celebrate like Mayberry RFD with community yard sales on February 8th. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, sure, Faye. Wilton Manors' popular Island City yard sales are set for both February 8th, this coming Saturday, and March 8th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the City Hall on the Drive at Hagan Park. And the shoppers really get a chance to explore a variety of secondhand treasures while vendors secure spaces on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you're still thinking about it, you may have missed the boat to put up your table, but I encourage you to get out there and check it out. The people I know set up as early as 5 or 6 in the morning. So if you want to get out there before it gets hot, but there's a lot of great stuff. Somebody who came down here 5 years ago with his husband with just a pod, we had to redecorate, and half the time I see some of the things I sold up in New Jersey down here. They're not the same things, but I said, oh, okay, so I justify. But really, it's a great opportunity to see people, old and new that you may know, socialize, learn a lot about some collectibles, antiques, and you never know what you're going to find. So it's fun.
Buy something new for your home,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, there is so much heaviness in the world. A new item bringing in might just bring in a little bit of spiciness or a little bit of fun
Absolutely.
or whatever. It sounds like fun.
And for those of you who read books,
Library, right?
Absolutely. The library actually resells books, so you can get nice hard cover books, art books to put on your coffee table for maybe 50 cents to $1, and they look brand new.
You can find something there older than me.
That's not possible, but okay.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Island City Yard Sales on February 8th and March 8th. Let's welcome anchor TriniDaddy. He's a violinist and a pianist with the Miami City Ballet and is the program director for the Seminole Theater Players in Homestead. Trini, Island City Stage brings a delicate balance to Wilton Manors through February 9th. Tell me what's happening.
Well, Island City Stage presents Edward Albee's A Delicate Balance in Wilton Manors, running through February 9th. Directed by Michael Leeds, the production features award-winning actors Patty Gardner, Tom Wall, Betty Ann Hunt-Strain, Marjorie Lowe, Christopher Dreesen, and Sabrina Lynn Gore. Exploring family secrets and shifting loyalties, the play has been drawing full house audiences. Co-produced by Fab and Jeffrey Danielson, with sponsors supporting lights, sets, and costumes, the show offers multiple performances. For tickets and details, visit islandcitystage.org. Please support your arts. I think it is a wonderful play. I think everybody needs to go out and have a little bit of laughter and a little bit of entertainment. I was thinking the other day, I really hope the artists, we step it up. I feel like they're going to play a crucial role in the next 3-4 years.
Yes.
Not only just getting us through this with the lighter times, with laughter and all of that, but I think it's time for the artists that we have to step up and change the public perception of what is going on. And I think there's in a way that only artists can do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not necessarily in your face. It's something that gets you thinking. I think that's the only thing that's going to
Have a commentary on what's happening now.
Yeah, it's like what Randy Rainbow did in the first Trump administration. I mean, he got a lot of people through stuff. He was the go-to for that.
Yeah, live performances will do that, and that's why Island City is so important. That's why your organization at Seminole is so important, because we need that escape, right? And now more than ever, we gotta support our live performances. And I heard that A Delicate Balance is amazing. They've been selling out every night, and everybody's been saying, "Oh, you gotta go see it. You gotta go see it." So we gotta go see it now, right? So Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all. Edward Albee's A Delicate Balance through February 9th. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Gregg Shapiro. He's an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. Gregg, South Florida Symphony Orchestra celebrates love on February 12th. How perfect. Tell me what's happening.
South Florida Symphony Orchestra presents a passionate Valentine's weekend program featuring an orchestra led by award-winning conductor Sabrina Maria Alfonso and LGBTQ community favorite. The concert, starring soprano Amy Shormount-Obra, will take place on February 12th at the Parker in Fort Lauderdale and February 15th at New World Center in Miami Beach, both starting at 7:30 p.m. A pre-concert talk by Dr. Alan Mason will offer insights before the Fort Lauderdale show. Tickets start at $50. For more details, visit southfloridasymphony.org. I mean, when you think about this, Valentine's Day is only 9 days away. Today's the 5th. It's the 14th. I mean, it's
Take a breath. Take a breath. It's
this
okay,
makes me
Greg.
so much pressure. It's just so much pressure.
It's not. Listen, they've already laid it out for you.
I know,
You can take them to this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a relief that a South Florida Symphony concert sounds like such a romantic way to observe this day of love.
Well, just tell you something a little funny about it. I do play in the South Florida Symphony, but I'm not playing this concert because I'm with Miami City Ballet, and I forgot to plug that one, but I will next time I'm here. One of the pieces they're playing is called Don Juan. And Don Juan is known as one of the most difficult pieces to play.
Really?
It's on every orchestral audition excerpt list.
Ooh.
And the first time that I had to play this in high school, I was going to these music festivals. I didn't know the piece, but everybody sings Don Juan gets laid more than I do, but that's okay because she's gay. That's how I know this piece. Is that
my
theme
God.
is
Oh, that's
everybody
wonderful.
thinks it is like the gay Don Juan. So
Hey.
just if you happen to be at the concert, just think about that.
I love
Sing
that.
along.
Yeah.
I love a little sing-along in your mind, right? Don't sing it out loud or Sabrina will get up on the stage and curse you out. I love Sabrina. I love everything that she does. Her and her beautiful wife, Jacqueline, are just an incredible lesbian power couple that I so look up to. So this is just perfect for Valentine's Day or anytime. They've also got a date in March as well, right? So Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Valentine's Weekend program on February 12th and February 15th at Fort Lauderdale and Miami Beach.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspot's Happening Out's The FayWhat Show. Now, Faye, I heard that there is an upcoming fundraiser focused on the wellness of women in South Florida. Tell us, what's happening?
My pleasure, Miss Bonnie. So the Skirt Foundation launch party and fundraiser is February 7th, 6 to 9 p.m. happening at the Independence Hall, 1639 Northeast 26th Street in Wilton, Manors. The Skirt Foundation is a 501c3 charitable organization founded in September 2024 by Lali Savavi, Diana Papafatis, and Pamela Bauscher, the core group behind Skirt South Florida magazine. Their mission is the advancement of South Florida LGBTQ and allied women in women-focused health and wellness initiatives, entrepreneurial and charitable pursuits, and the arts, of course. To accomplish this, the Skirt Foundation offers financial support alongside cultural and educational programs with an aim of achieving gender equity. Join the Skirt Foundation for an evening of joy and community. Bring your appetite, dancing shoes, and a giving spirit. Get your tickets now at givebutter.com/the Skirt Foundation launch fundraiser.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Skirt Foundation launch party and fundraiser on February 7th.
I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. The Stephen Fallon interview on Latino Salud, AIDS Walk, and March 29th's Gala. Stephen J. Fallon, PhD, is the co-founder and executive director of Latino Salud, a South Florida nonprofit offering HIV testing, prevention, and support services. With 4 locations and mobile outreach, the organization serves thousands yearly. We are joined by this amazing person today right here on Queer News Tonight. Let's hear from the horse's mouth about his journey and all the exciting events that he is bringing to us here in South Florida. Welcome to Queer News Tonight, Dr. Fallon. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much, Faye. Great to be here.
Great. I'm so happy to have you at the table. Now, te iba a hablar en español, pero estoy hablando bien despacio.
Sí, más despacio. Cuando tú hablas despacio, yo entiendo todo.
¿Cómo estás hoy?
Sí. Pero yo estoy bien. Pero en mi país, originalmente, las palabras son conostontu. Conostontu en Gaelic es el mismo de cómo estás.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So you just taught me Gaelic.
Gaelic. There
I
you go.
love that. So, folks at home, I never get to speak Spanish, right? And the organization that Dr. Fallon's a part of is Latino Salud. So I just figured, let's talk a little Spanish. And immediately, Dr. Fallon was like, slow down.
Slow down.
But he understood me, so thank you.
The thick accent. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So, Dr. Fallon, we were talking off camera about how Latino Salud has been around for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that, we just heard of them a couple of years ago, but you've been around for a while, correct?
We were a small organization for the longest time. We're coming up on we've hit our 16th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. Yeah, that should be a theme for our gala. But originally we were just safer sex workshops and handing out condoms. I think what people are really referring to goes back just 4.5 years ago when we opened up our clinics as well. And we've been adding locations.
Yes, you have 4 up to date, right? I went to the last grand opening for the one in Wilton Manors, right across the street from the Wilton Collective. And what a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful building.
That's a great building. Anybody who hasn't been there before, it's a Dan Duckham design, what they call subtropical modernism. It's such a cool.
Gorgeous. And the colors and the outside. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so something else that you were telling me off camera was that during COVID was when really Latino Salud came into its own, like its own bearings, its own foundation, knowing that there was such a need out there from our community. You folks were the only organization that stayed over to provide HIV help and support to our community. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So we were just opening our wellness clinic. COVID hit and everybody locked down. We thought maybe nobody's going to be able to come. But my staff said, how can we stay open and help? So we were very careful, Faye. We used level 3 safety protocols, only a few people in the building at a time. But what we found was so many community members who needed assistance who couldn't go to their regular clinics. And so we more than doubled the population we were serving. And then when COVID finally passed, we thought, well, we're glad we've done our work, but I'm sure you'll prefer to go back to your usual spaces. And they didn't.
Aww.
They wanted to keep referring their friends. So this past year, we tested 23,000 people.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
23,000 people. That's 23 possibilities of someone not infecting others. That's 23,000 people that know their status, which is so important, Dr. Fallon. So incredible. Now, let me ask you something. Something that came up when I first heard about your organization was Latino Salud. That translates into Latin health, right?
Yes.
Latino Salud is not just for Latinos.
No. We prioritize our marketing on the underserved gay Latino community. Many of them arrive on our shores. They come from countries where there was no sexual health education, where there's myths about HIV and STDs. So we want them to know it's a safe space for them. But then people like me, people like you, more than welcome to come in.
Oh,
and actually, I just had somebody ask me that the other week. Somebody who's seen me give my speech for at least 10 years, and he said, my clinic isn't letting me get PrEP anymore. Am I allowed to come see you? And I said, of course you are.
Yeah.
And he didn't even make an appointment. He just walked in. He was served within 15 minutes, left with his PrEP for free.
Oh, God, so important, Doc, so important. The other part is funny because I have a friend of mine who just loves Latino boys. So he's like, I'm going to Latino Salud because that must be where all the Latinos are at. And I'm like, okay, sure. Right.
Well, if that brings you in the door, as long as we can get you healthy.
Right, that's it. Yeah. So Dr. Fallon, what makes Latino Salud's approach unique when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to serving our community?
Think about what it's like to go to your doctor, go to your clinic. First thing you do is you set your appointment, you show up, and then they leave you sitting in the lobby for a half hour,
or
maybe
more.
An hour or two. Then the next thing that happens is one person fills out forms with you, another person takes your vitals, another person draws the blood, another person, and you're in there for hours. Well, 2 things we do differently, Faye. We hire from the community. We don't hire resumes. We hire from the community. Are you connected to people and do you have passion? I can teach you everything else.
I love that.
And the next thing we do is we cross-train you. So you get to stay with the client, the patient. You get to stay with them through almost every service. Only when it comes up to the provider level. And even then, we're not referring you out. We're just walking you across the hall. You get your appointment right away.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, there's obviously at the top of everyone's mind right now is the new administration that has taken over. We don't need to say his name. We all know his name. We all see his name everywhere. How about some of our Latino people in our community that are worried about being undocumented or ICE coming or something like that? Is that something that they would have to worry about coming over to Latino Salud?
Absolutely not.
You say that with a smile on your face, like you are ready to fight this in some way.
Well, the best way to fight it is not to kick the hornet's nest, just quietly do your work. And we've had no problems and don't anticipate any.
Okay, I got you. All right. So one of the events every year that Latino Salud really gets involved and does it big is the AIDS Walk that's coming up, right? March 15th, the AHF brings us Florida AIDS Walk, and it's coming up March 15th, like I told you. How is Latino Salud going to be involved this year?
Well, the main way we're involved is the wonderful role of being a beneficiary. As a beneficiary, that means that anybody who donates to our Latino Salud AIDS Walk team or any of the members on the team, those funds come back to Latino Salud matched by the Florida AIDS Walk.
Dollar for dollar.
Dollar for dollar. And for any nonprofit, of course, that type of money, not only is it money, but it's also unrestricted money. So unlike grants where you negotiate budgets and then they say, oh, you went over on your office supplies, or no, you can't spend more on telephone. It's this constant wailing around. If you want to do something new, like open a wellness clinic, or we now have our Pride Scholarships program, which is amazing. We have unrestricted revenue that we can allocate to the board of directors for special projects like that.
I love that.
So we form usually the largest team for the Florida AIDS Walk. We usually bring 70 to sometimes 100 people.
Woo! I love that. And can people still join?
Oh yeah, they can join Latino Salud's team. Just search on the Florida AIDS Walk page and join a team.
Oh my God, exciting. Now you talked about the scholarships, right? I mean, what a wonderful way another way to help people in our community. Like you were saying, you're outright helping people in our community. Then you're also hiring in our community. Then on top of it, you want to help people even excel even further by giving them scholarships to go learn and come back and do more work. Is that what you're trying to do?
That's exactly it. And for anybody who's wondering, it's not just, this is another government question. It's not money spent, it's an investment. Do you have any idea how much money I spend on ZipRecruiter, Indeed, on the ads for the Florida AIDS Nurses Society? And I get applications that haven't even read what the advertisement is for a position. So much better to take that money and maybe a little bit more and say, I want to invest in you because you have a big heart. You're going to stay in South Florida. You're either going to be in healthcare or another support service, in some way give back to the community. And these aren't, $500 scholarships. Our floor is $2,500 and we go to $6,000 and they can reapply every year.
Wow, serious. Wow. Now, can people get all their healthcare needs at Latino Salud? I know you help with HIV. I know you help with PEP and PrEP. Can they go there for a checkup? Can Latino Salud be their main PCP, so to speak?
Right. They can designate us as their primary care provider. We don't do invasive surgery. We don't have barbiturates on site, but we basically treat everything else. We have a number of patients with diabetes, with hypertension. We're treating about 300 people with HIV. We have about 4,000 people on PrEP.
Wonderful. Is mental health in your future?
Mental health right now, we're doing the soft serve mental health, because a lot of what SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, talks about is not just the clinical role of mental health, but resilience. And a lot of what happens, we all drift. We have moments where we are fearful or depressed or lonely, and if there's not somebody there to reassure us, it's easy to drift into serious mental health. So with our health and culture program now, and I believe it's 6th year.
Congrats.
We organize free events, and we both in-house and out of house. We take people for free to plays, to concerts, kayaking, self-defense classes, yoga.
I love that.
Yeah. I have classes to learn how to dance in heels, to put on drag queen makeup. We watch movies together. We do all sorts of fun things. Sometimes it's 12 people, sometimes it's 300.
I love that. But that fellowship is so important, Doc. Okay, and like you said, that's what keeps your mental health at bay, right? It's like you're feeding. It's funny how people come to South Florida and they're like, this place, it's not easy to make friends. It's not easy to find that core group. And with events like this, a Latino Salud is throwing, that's where you can meet people, right? So I don't want to hear that anymore.
Right.
And another place where people can meet people, on March 29th, you're having your gala, right? You're hosting your annual gala. What can we expect?
Well, the gala, if anybody went last year.
I like gala better. You're right.
Okay.
Let me say gala. You're right. Gala.
So our gala last year was at quinceañera, and we pulled out all the stops, and we had it big, and we had it expensive. But the truth of the matter is, it's more expensive than the tickets if you don't do it right. So that was at the Westin, and we had about 350 people.
Nice.
This year, get your tickets early because there's only 242 I can see. The gala is going to be at the Broward Center for Performing Arts in the Riverview Ballroom. We're going to start out in the Peck Courtyard outside.
Gorge.
Drinks and conversation. Go up for a short program with entertainment and a video and a couple of remarks. No thanking politicians. No boring giving awards. Quick and show you what we're up to. And then we're going to finish. This is really cool. Down at the riverfront. They're roping it off for us and opening the downstairs bar. And we're going to be dancing by the water. Close out the night.
Gorgeous. See, that's my kind of gala. I love that. And have you ever been to the Broward Center for the Performing Arts? It's that middle area with the beautiful lights, right? That'll be the pre-time, the cocktail time. And then you'll go in for the program, etc., and then come right back out by the water. I love that. For tickets and more, visit the Florida AIDS Walk fundraiser page and also visit Latino Salud and their page, which is, what is your website?
Latinos, plural, Latinos, Salud, SALUD.org. And one more thing I'll share.
Please.
Your viewers only.
Uh-huh.
Only for you for the next 5 days. We'll take $25 off your ticket. When you go to purchase a ticket, you use the code QNT, Queer News Tonight 25.
Oh.
Put that in the box, and it will come up $25 off.
You see that? And you say that I never give you anything. You just got $25 off your ticket to the Latino Salud Gala this year. $25 is a lot, okay? That's a lot. You can't even buy 1 carton of eggs with that. But you go to Latino Salud, that's LatinosSalud.org, and you put in QNT for Queer News Tonight, and you get your discount.
Click on the banner to buy a ticket, and then put that code in, and you're there.
There you go. Dr. Stephen Fallon, right? Thank you so much for being on Queer News Tonight. And I look forward to your gala. I look forward to giving you a high five at the AIDS Walk. And keep on doing what you're doing. Our community needs it. Our community looks to you. Y sigue con el español.
Sí, más despacio, yo no entiendo.
Sigue con el español. Continue.
Sigue. Oh, sigue. Yes, I'm not good at verb tenses. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Dr. Stephen Fallon, please give it up for him. He is just an incredible, incredible entity and co-founder of Latino Salud. Go on over there, go to their webpage, find out everything that they've got going on. They've got the AIDS Walk coming up. They've got their gala. And like you heard the doctor say, they've got a lot of events. Okay, fellowship events to just be you, right? And that is what we need right now.
And 4 locations. Anybody watching in Miami, 3 of our locations are there. You mentioned the grand opening in Wilton Manors. Mm-hmm. We opened North Miami in 2022, and we've just opened in the past year our 7,000 square foot location in Southwest Miami, 46 free parking spaces.
Free parking in Miami.
Yeah.
Okay. Free parking in Miami. Those 4 words are never spoken. All right. You just heard it right here first. So please go take care of yourself now more than ever. Knowing your status is so important, but just your personal well-being, right? I know that in LGBTQ+, we have issues when it comes to healthcare and when it comes to maybe dealing with people that don't know what our community needs. Well, that's not the case when it comes to Latino Salud. They know what you need and they're there to help.
No judgment.
No judgment. Never judge. And you know we are judgy, but not a Latino Salud. We're not. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up the USA view. Crisis for LGBTQ America as HRC lays off 20% of all staff. The Human Rights Campaign is laying off 20% of its workforce in a major restructuring effort. As reported by The Advocate, about 50 employees will be affected when the layoffs take effect on February 12th. HRC leaders cite financial sustainability and rising political threats as key reasons behind the shocking decision. Despite exceeding fundraising goals in past years, raising $85 million in 2023, expenses have outpaced revenue for the HRC, ultimately leading to a net asset decline. The HRC statement said, quote, "To avoid layoffs, we explore a range of cost-saving measures, from attrition to aggressively pushing revenue and evaluating program expenses, but ultimately both strategic and budget reasons led us to this restructuring," end quote. The board has tasked President Kelly Robinson with balancing the budget. Robinson has acknowledged the tough decision, but has also reaffirmed HRC's mission. She said, quote, "Our success has never been determined by the number of staff we have, but by the impact that we make in the world," end quote. 2 sources close to this story told Queer News Tonight that the statement does not address the real elephant in the room: Trump and GOP complete rejection of DEI. For much of 2024, these conservatives and their allies have outpaced the LGBTQ traditional social justice organizations, including the HRC. Queer News Tonight continues to report on the growing corporate response to DEI, withdrawing support for LGBTQ organizations, including pride events, major queer charities, and even the HRC's own Corporate and City Diversity Index program. After decades of growth, 2024 became the first year that there was a significant increase of anti-DEI sentiment. The news became worse after the November election. Since the January 20th inauguration, DEI has been under a blistering attack of even its existence. That has led to a financial crisis to LGBTQ social justice causes. Under the condition of anonymity, a source close to the HRC said, quote, "Our advocacy organizations, including the HRC, have not seen attacks like this in the 21st century. Stephen Miller with the Trump administration has already made major gains for rejection of DEI support in corporate America. Anti-LGBTQ activist Robbie Starbuck has had significant success to get major corporations to reduce and even abandon HRC support on diversity issues. This is having a significant impact on how to respond and where the money to do it comes from. End quote. 20% layoff. I'm not surprised, right? But it's a substantial amount of people when you think of the small number of people that are over there at the HRC working hard for our rights. Unfortunately, the HRC has received a lot of criticism recently, for their internal workings, for their endorsements, unfortunately, of both Democratic and Republican candidates, and also its position on the Israel-Palestine issue. Unfortunately, that has also been a big, huge drama going on over there at HRC. If you also remember, we did the story on Alfonso, who was the first Black president of HRC, that he was unfortunately, he was let go, and now he is suing HRC on racial discrimination grounds. So it has not been an easy couple of years for HRC, and all this that's happening with DEI and Trump is definitely not helping the situation one bit.
Well, another elephant in the room that people aren't really talking about yet is the significant financial giving may also be drying up due to the California wildfires, because there's a lot of money there, especially for LGBTQ causes, and there's a lot of donors there who might have been affected by the devastation and may not be able to continue donations. So that's just adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
If I can ask a question, because I'm surrounded by a lot of smart people here. What is the true issue with DEI? I just want to make sure I'm not coming from an ignorant place. Because every few years, it seems like the conservative side really sinks their teeth into the most idiotic concepts, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's trans people using restrooms, whether it's drag queen story hour, and now all I'm hearing is DEI. Before I speak from an uninformed place, is there truly any ground in which criticism of DEI is like truly withstanding? Like,
so can I'll take this first round. So DEI was generally introduced because of discrimination against people of color. For instance, if you have a Black woman named Shaniqua that comes into an interview, and that's the last part of the process to get hired, and you have a white dude named David, there is an automatic bias for many people that says, all right, this guy obviously is more intelligent. This is more, regardless of whether Shaniqua is way more qualified, right? And because we see those biases, we do have some of this diversity, equity, and inclusion to help balance out, saying that, okay, obviously this many people being rejected from a job, there's got to be something to it. So let's see if we can, have those different perspectives in there and like make sure that we're safeguarding against discrimination. I will say that many of the DEI programs, a fair criticism, I would say, of them is that they're not, the amount of money that many of these corporations are putting into it are not getting the results.
Or were.
Yeah.
We're putting into it.
Or were putting into it they weren't getting the diversified group of people that they were saying.
That the intention was supposedly for.
It seems like there's been a lot of mismanagement of it too. So I'm okay with them looking at it. Of course, cutting it out completely is, and the thing is, when somebody mismanages it, then you give fuel to the other side to say, look at what just happened.
Look what just happened.
All that money just went into so-and-so's pocket and you're not seeing this.
And Trump and his goons put DEI with wokeness. They've literally put those two things together, which is why you're hearing so much of it, right? The plane crash, right, with the Black Hawk is the DEI, is the reason for that happening is because of DEI. You know what I mean? So, it's just kind of where they're targeting all their hate, right? It's either trans or DEI. That's the reason that the world is upside down, according to the Trump administration.
And it's the same gaslighting that's been going on since the first 4 years.
And DEI, from an HR perspective, being in HR for over 25 years, more than that actually, it started out in the right place back in the 1960s and evolved. And unfortunately, as we've all said at this table, it's being used as propaganda. It's used to fuel hate. It's used to spark, what's out there already as ignorance, and not really be, based on fact. And what TriniDaddy said before, you want to have a good pool. I mean, anytime I was involved heavily in recruiting for companies that were responsible, we had a candidate pool, and we had to have a certain number of candidates for each position. And there was sometimes a temptation for a manager to say, nope, I got this referral. I don't want to see those other people. And our job in HR was to say, we're regulated and funded by the government. We're a government contractor. Nope, we have to follow these rules.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, right now, with our current POTUS in power, we're going to have to fight even harder. And, but you brought up a good point.
But can DEI continue without that label? Can those hiring practices?
Well, they should.
Private
Well,
company
yes.
can do whatever they want.
That's the hope, is that it will continue.
A
without
responsible
those-
company.
Yeah, but I mean, most of these organizations are completely annihilating DEI completely. And when it comes to DEI, you're also protecting disabled folks.
Yeah.
It's not just a racial thing, which is which is prominent, but it covers a lot of ground. And they're just taking it as wokeness. You love LGBT. You want everybody to be gay. You're making everybody gay. And people believe it. People feed into it.
And there's also a big issue of ageism. A lot of people don't want to admit that, but as I get more mature, there have been times where I've actually had people say, "Well, you're really overqualified. Why would you want to step back into this position at this?" And I had to explain, I'm at a certain point in my life. My spouse is retired, and while he may be older than me, I have, I'm going to be working another 10 or 15 years at least. So it's something that really needs to be looked at. I know with my company, they did eliminate the DE&I, but however, they do have compliance that steps in. So there are hotlines that employees can reach out to in confidence, and they still will take a position, being a funded county employer, to do the right thing.
They've eliminated most DEI courses from universities here in South Florida. Where now, if you want to take that course, it's not. It's an elective. It's not even something to help you get, another what's the word I'm looking for here? Another degree. It won't count towards it either.
Yeah.
And just to go back to the actual
HRC,
story, to HRC, is that they can still function if we volunteer. Like, they may have lost some of the workforce, but I get called, I don't know, twice a week by somebody volunteering in some part of Florida, right?
Yeah.
So I think we just need to step up our volunteering game, not in just, donating, but also hey, we'll help with this. We'll help spread the word.
And I
we'll
think
be in
that's
an event.
HRC's roots.
And,
Was volunteer.
So grassroots was knocking on the doors and shaking the hands. So we've got to go back to that.
We really do. Cry at home and then come out and do what needs to be done.
And we need to not ask for permission. One of the things when I was at Hollywood Pride, and I was so glad to see, was that the Broward County Library System had books that were open to all diversity, equity, and inclusion type models. And I thought that, Florida was getting away from that and the funding. So I sat there and had a long conversation with the folks from the county system and said how glad I was. I know an author that I featured in prior stories from up north that I want to get his book down here in Florida. I think it's very important, especially for children and teens. So
for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. So the takeaway is you can still volunteer for HRC, time, talent, and tithing. That's always what I'm taught at Unity on the Bay. You can give one of those three things to an organization like HRC and make sure that they continue to strive and fight for our rights. So that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Bonnie Builder, and let's queer up drag culture. RuPaul and Joan Rivers' crystal ball predicted 2025 Trump America on Gay in 2013. RuPaul warned us in a resurfaced 2013 interview with Joan Rivers. Mama Ru broke down America's political pendulum, talking about the cultural.
Throughout our culture, there are little windows and pockets of time when people are open. After 9/11, there was this hostility and a fear that was just in the air, right? And, after that died down and Obama got into office, it's not because of Obama, but Obama is a result of this openness that happened. And I think the success of our show is a part of that openness. Now, obviously, in the late 70s, there was an openness with dancing, and people were willing to, to move below the waist. And obviously, in the 60s, there have been little pockets. Actually, when I first hit the big time in 93, there was a small window, but those windows close, they open, they close. And I think that is why we're experiencing that right now. And I think that's why our show is successful. But it will close again. It's not always that way.
You really think it would close again?
Absolutely. That's the history of mankind. I can't believe, I mean, during the 80s, I couldn't believe some of the things that people, even gay people, became very conservative during the 80s, you know?
And the 2024 election shows he was right. The vibe has shifted, diversity initiatives are fading, billionaires are rallying behind conservatism, and Trump, yes, that Trump, won the popular vote. Even young men who once leaned liberal swung right. Meanwhile, a certain sect of gay men are embracing MAGA, providing that in America, the pendulum always swings back. Of course, RuPaul's words also mean that this too will pass. With dedication, hard work, and time, the LGBTQ community will see better days. I have to believe that the pendulum will swing the other way, or else we will just go into full despair from here on out. I still have faith in this country. Those who have been swayed one way, either because of Kamala's inaction with the Gaza situation, that's what I heard a lot about, like the gays who voted for Trump or voted third party, which is fucking stupid, or didn't vote at all. That was like a big point that they brought up. I truly believe that we have a chance to bring it back the other way. We just cannot run in fear. This is a huge thing that I keep hearing, and it's one of the most frustrating points that aggravates me. Because you are frustrated with the current state of our country is not a good enough reason to up and leave. I use this analogy a lot. If there is a crack in your wall in your home, if there is something wrong with your house, do you just up and move to another house? No. You dedicate time and funds to fix what is wrong with your home.
Amen.
This is my home. I ain't going no goddamn motherfucking way, and you not gonna push me no motherfucking way. We gonna find a way to fix this shit. This is a dark time, but this is not the first dark time America has faced. We have faced many issues like this in the past. This is why you need to learn about your history, okay? We have dealt with assholes like Trump. We have dealt with assholes worse than Trump, and we have come out on the other side better than before. So please take the words of RuPaul, certain words of RuPaul, and do understand that we will swing the other way. It is possible. You just can't get up and leave, and you cannot give up.
Yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere. One, I miss Joan Rivers so much, right? Just seeing that clip right there, it's like, coño, man, she would have had such a great time with the present administration, with the, you know, but, you know, this video kind of gave me hope, right? Because, again, RuPaul's there talking about the 80s, right? And how horrible it was, right? I wasn't around during that time. I don't know. Well, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine losing people.
The worst.
I can't imagine that, right? And the fact that, like, you know, right now with RFK and what he wants to do and, you know, roll back things and not give our brothers, you know, the pep and the prep that they need to stay safe. That scares the living hell out of me, okay? Because boys don't use protection and they want us to cancel ourselves out, you know? So, you know, anyway, but just watching him, his fear of the 80s and him remembering how the 80s were and them saying, but we're sitting here right now, Joan, and look where we're at,
He's
right?
a survivor, right?
So, you know, like Bonnie said, like we did it that time and it wasn't the first time. Anita Bryant just died. She was somebody who was so against us and was, you know, a flagrant hater of our community and said everything possible and did everything possible to not have us have our rights here in South Florida, right? And, you know, there's going to be others that are going to come and we're going to have to fight them too. But like Bonnie, I'm not going nowhere.
When you say you weren't around for the 80s, you mean like location wise or?
Really, Bonnie, that's where you're going to get? I was 5. So like, there's not really like I would be able to know what was going on around me.
Okay. So you were still there though. Okay. Just want to be sure.
Okay. So I've been sounding this alarm for the past 3 years. The pendulum does swing, and I've been telling people sitting at this table, listening to liberals and conservatives, I am not a conservative, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I move between all the circles. I have very good friends on all sides of this issue. When our side was going so far left and telling people, no, you're what I tell you you are, and you can't have another opinion on it, and yelling at them and telling them that they're stupid and ignorant, all I was thinking was like, oh my God, shut up. This is such fuel for the fire that you are going to get the backlash. And that always happens. This is what he was talking about and what Joan Rivers was talking about. As soon as you start demonizing another side, it just fills them with rage until they organize enough to give it back to you. The best example of how our community dealt with a major issue was gay marriage. with gay marriage, that should be the model for us. We didn't yell at people like, you're such a bigot, you're this and that. What we did, we showed our stories. We're like, look, this is my friend. I want to see him when he's in the hospital. He died because I couldn't be there. People will start to have empathy for whatever marginalized group it is.
So you want them to feel sorry for us?
I want them to realize that because they don't realize the pain that it inflicts on us because they're not part of this.
They don't
community.
realize that we're human either. They don't consider us. They
Right.
consider us subhuman. Do you understand?
No,
that?
that is not true.
Okay.
Okay, the administration might feel that way, but the people, by and large, that voted for him, not the core MAGA, but I even know core MAGA that love gay people. All right, it's not so.
Yet they voted against us, though.
Yeah.
But that's because they weren't thinking about our issues. They had other issues that they were voting. That's their top priority. One example, a woman I know who loves the gay men, always around gay men, talking about RFK, and RFK put out something about poppers causing AIDS, not HIV.
How crazy is that?
And she's an engineer. I'm telling you, a smart ass woman. And so I said, what are you talking? This guy's crazy. So then she sends me some articles that's on RFK's website. And I just look at the date of them. It's like 1983. All right, when they didn't even know what AIDS was, you know?
Yeah, he wasn't
Gay
the only
cancer.
one saying that back.
So I put that out. I said, are you not seeing how they're trying to manipulate you?
Right.
Like, I understand you did some research and you quoted some stories, but look at what it was. They are trying to pull the wool over your eyes. And now that you can see that, you know not to trust these people. And they just need to be pointed in a loving way and as much as you can. There's times to march on the street, but when it comes to people, you let them know they will have empathy for you and they will vote and the pendulum will
I used to believe that. I don't believe that so much anymore. I have people very close to me who voted against my rights, basically. And I used to think maybe they just don't understand, or if you come to them like softly and stuff like that. No, they have adamantly made up their mind what they are prioritizing, despite how we bring it to them. I do understand your point. There are people who are naturally contrarian. And so if you push one way, they're going to go the other way because they're tired of you raising your voice at them. I do understand that point. But coming to them in a certain way, we've done that. We have absolutely done that to a large population of people. And they have decided, I hear you, I see you, but I'm not going to follow what you want because my wants and needs come first.
But they also don't believe, and I mean, I honestly wasn't sure how far that they were going to take it. So like, they would say, you guys have gay marriage, you have your rights, right? That's not going to get taken away. Now what we see with the unraveling of what's happening, I do think that things are going to change in their minds. Even just the things that they were promised, I think they're starting to see a little bit like, wait, I don't know if what these promises, if they're going to come to fruition, that this is an actual circus.
Yeah.
Well,
But by the time they understand that and they see that clearly, it'll be too late.
Well,
And
that's why
I
we need to
And I
help
won't
them.
have my marriage anymore.
We have to help them.
Well,
I don't think a population of them have enough humility to back down or at least admit the mistake they've
never
made.
They will never.
Well,
we raised
That's
our
not
voices
true.
Well-
in the 80s.
Yes, we did.
And we called attention to the crisis. And so many people would not be alive today if we had not
That's right.
been out
Yeah,
there
of
marching.
course,
But
we
so
do
many
need
people
to.
Raising
died.
our
But so
voices.
many people also
That's
died
right.
during that time that
Right.
didn't get the proper education or
Right.
care that they could have gotten.
Right. But I mean, there are times when you do have to speak up.
Of course. And that pendulum is a historical thing. It always happens. So just keep that in mind.
Well,
All right. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. We'll be watching that pendulum come back. All right, for sure. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
now let's dive deep into this big LGBT story for today. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up politics. In a scene reminiscent of 1939 Nazi Germany, FBI paints over diversity wall over Trump crackdown. The FBI has painted over a wall listing its core values, including diversity, following President Trump's sweeping rollback on diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI programs. Shortly after taking office, Trump ordered federal DEI employees to take forced paid leave. He said his goal was to, quote, end the onslaught of useless and overpaid DEI activists buried in the federal workforce, end quote. A photo obtained by CNN reportedly shows a mural at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia being painted over, covering words like diversity, fairness, and integrity. The FBI confirmed it removed diversity from its core values to comply with the new Trump-Vance directive. Meanwhile, government employees were also ordered to remove pronouns from their email signatures under Trump's Restoring the Biological Truth order, which declares only two sexes, male and female. He also blamed DEI initiatives for the recent Washington, D.C. plane crash. He has since rolled back workplace discrimination protections and banned trans people from the military service. LGBTQ advocates fear that these moves will erase decades of progress. Critics call it a direct attack on marginalized communities, while supporters claim it's a return to traditional values. But activists say they see a parallel between 1939 Nazi Germany and 2025 America. In 1939 Germany, under Hitler, the state attempted to control and erase marginalized identities and ideologies that did not fit the regime's vision, just like Trump 2.0. Well, there's a lot I know we're going to say about this. And, we need to be strong, but certainly we need to question leadership, but stay united. I mean, eliminating diversity, well then, you're looking to have uniformity, parallel to the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. If you eliminate fairness, then it's inequity, and it just says what it is. If you eliminate integrity, well, then it's dishonesty, and I think we know who we're dealing with. So we need to be strong. We need to boost our leadership, no matter what you think. I would love to see someone like a Pete Buttigieg rise up and get more people, but also help mentor those of us in the community who have the potential to be leaders, to be able to speak strongly. When I see Buttigieg speak on Fox, he tears them a new one.
Yes, he does.
And I would love to be able to do that myself, and not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
But it's empowering to know that we have people in our community. In the past, I've talked about folks using us finding people in our communities or allies who have the intelligence to deal with the AI issues, artificial intelligence, to work around all the lunacy that Trump is allowing. He's really asleep at the wheel. He's only after one thing, and that's greed and power and being a figurehead. But please, what do you think?
I don't know why painting over this wall affects me so much. Like just seeing it, it's not even done, but it affects me. Like words like that will not exist anymore, right? Which of course they will, but I mean fairness, right? Compassion, stability, leadership. These are things that we all expect from our government. We all expect from organizations like the FBI. And now folks that have studied and gone to school and made being an FBI agent their career now have to think, okay, do I kiss the ring or do I lose my job?
Yes.
Right? I don't know. There were countless FBI agents who were investigating Trump on his 35 felonies, who also got walked off the job and said bye-bye.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you do? What do you do in that aspect? All right. Me and Trini were talking before the show. Every day and twice on Sunday, we're bombarded with stuff that Trump is doing against us. If you miss a day, you missed out on who he's trying to take down today.
But there's nothing subtle about this Nazism that's on display, whether it's Trump's ongoing outreach to white supremacists or Musk's Nazi salute. The rise of the Fourth Reich, also known as the Heritage Foundation, has begun, and we really should all be terrified, but it should also scare us into action. That's the thing.
I, like Bonnie, do still have faith in our country. I do think that they're going to see what is happening. There's going to be enough of us sounding the alarm that they will realize partially what they did, at least hopefully for the midterms, if not the midterms for, after Trump's presidency. There were so many elements in that news piece. So when we talked about trans people in the bathrooms and two sexes.
Yes.
Okay, great. I think a great resistance would be all you masculine trans men out there, go into those bathrooms, those female bathrooms, and when a whole bunch of women are like, okay, these are dudes that are in my bathroom, I don't want this, I don't like this anymore, then maybe you'll have a little change of heart when you see a whole bunch of guys that look like,
like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I say that to that point? I've seen that point being made on social media, and it's a really valid point. Let's just be cautious of all that entails if a a right-wing woman sees a trans man in their personal space, that could just contribute to the argument of they are
grooming us,
sexual molesters, sexually attacking us. Yeah. So I do understand the point. The point is a trans woman is a woman, so let the woman use the woman's restroom, and do not put trans women in men's spaces because you don't know what's going to happen. I understand the lightheartedness of that point, but there's also, unfortunately, a heaviness to it. If a trans woman is in a solitary male space where there typically isn't any other supervision, what's going to happen to that trans woman? If a trans man is in a woman's space, what is a woman going to say that trans man did without any proper video documentation? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So
and God forbid there's a kid in the bathroom.
Hello.
Then forget it.
That is a valid point, and I see where you're coming from.
My point is that it's one-sided.
Yeah.
Is that they only care about a trans woman being in a women's bathroom, and by making this executive order so that happening there, you are then making something else happen that they don't like either, which is somebody who is male presenting, who is maybe biologically female, that is in that space, that would have to go into that space because of what is on your ID. Yeah. So that's just something that a lot of people don't think about. They're only seeing drag queens and men in that situation. So there's that, and I forgot what my other point was, but go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I was just going to say, to complement what's going around the table, in addition to Trump saying that, declaring there's only two sexes, you have to look at not only how people identify, but you also have to look at the history of gender identification going back to, the ancient tribes of indigenous people of the Americas and around the world. And to lock it in.
Two-spirited has been around forever. It's not new. We didn't invent it. Oh, you LGBTQ people, you just want to add more letters and invent new stuff. That's right. No.
And then the other thing is, biologically, there are people who are born intersex.
Yes.
And, I guess, Trump and his cronies didn't take science courses. I mean,
they obviously did.
So this was the thing, and I know this is an unpopular take.
But I have to cut this short. So please make it short.
Short.
Okay.
Is that I think what people who are more on the right, they just want to have validation that their viewpoint on sex, male and female, that their version they have words for that, right? And I think that we should have sex being male, female, intersex. Yes, that occurs, but it's a very, very small percentage of the population.
What exists.
And then
it happens.
It does happen. And then gender is your own personal expression, which really doesn't have to be quantified in 80 different categories. So I think that we do need to have a difference between gender and sex when it comes to government documentation. And I think that would help solve the issue of bridging these two groups together.
Got you. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. So that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm TriniDaddy, and let's queer up business. First, Fort Lauderdale, now Miami, LGBTQ chamber president retires. The news of decades-long stability in the South Florida LGBTQ community is undergoing a changing landscape. Stephen Adkins, President CEO of the Greater Miami LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce, has announced his retirement effective June 30th, 2025. With 2 decades of leadership, Adkins has been a transformative figure for the LGBTQ community in Miami-Dade County, forging powerful connections between queer individuals and the broader business community. According to Marty Davis, MDGLCC board chair, quote, Stephen's vision and passion have not only uplifted our chamber locally, but have also cemented our place as one of the largest and most impactful LGBTQ chambers in the U.S., end quote. Under Adkins' leadership, the chamber's membership grew 20-fold, and the organization earned the Chamber of the Year award twice in 2019 and 2023. Additionally, the MDGLCC Foundation opened the world's first LGBTQ visitor center on Miami Beach, solidifying Greater Miami as a top LGBTQ-friendly destination. Adkins has received numerous accolades, including the SAGE 2025 Pioneer Award and the 2020 South Florida Business Journal Business of Pride Award. The Chamber is now seeking a successor to continue its mission. An event celebrating Atkins' legacy will be announced soon. Stay tuned to keep updated on this developing story. Bravo, Mr. Atkins. I can only hope to have as much influence as you have had in our community, in the LGBTQ community, or just influence in the world. Thank you so much for all the service. I'm glad that you are not retiring into the pasture somewhere out there, that you will still be in our pride involved in all of that going on. So thank you so much for that. And we really need leaders to step up. There's a huge hole that needs to be filled.
Absolutely.
Bonnie,
Hole,
you
yes,
can
thank
attest
you.
to. So yeah, if those of you who are interested, please, announce your candidacy, like bring everything to the table. We need all hands on deck.
Yeah. And we're losing. I mean, little does he know, Mr. Atkins, we're going to clone you before you go, okay? AI is going to make 5 of you because of like what Trini says. We need folks like this to step up. Like Steve Atkins has done so much. He's got an incredible smile, but he's also just a wonderful guy, and he wants to help all kinds of organizations, right? He's on the board for Miami Beach Pride. He's also helped with women's initiatives down there in Miami as well. It's a big loss, and I can't imagine someone filling those shoes, but we need people to step up to do so because he's just incredible. I remember one year he won South Florida's Tourism Professional of the Year, and it's just one of many accolades that he has won over the years, as you stated. A loss, but we wish him wonderful things. He's done so much for our community, and I know that whoever the successor is will be the right one for the role, and he'll be prepared by Steve himself for sure. Right? So that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up entertainment. Jonathan Bailey drives gay nerd lovers wild in new Jurassic World trailer. A new teaser released today for Jurassic World Rebirth has caused a stir among gay fans, especially the LGBTQ community. The reason is a brief yet heart-stopping shot of Jonathan Bailey in geek glasses. The new movie will be the 7th installment of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World franchise. The teaser opens with a tense scene featuring Scarlett Johansson as covert operation 5 years after 2022's Dominion, as the team embarks on a mission to save humanity using dinosaur DNA. The role is fresh after his star turn in Wicked. Let us take a look. Bailey as a bespectacled science nerd with a killer six-pack? Yowza! Finally, a reason to see a Jurassic World movie. Plus, ScarJo and hot Rupert Friend and Oscar winner Mahershala Ali. I guess we'll just have to be patient and wait for July if Trump hasn't blown up the world by then.
I don't understand why everybody's so freaking excited about this. Jonathan Bailey basically stole Alphaba's glasses from Wicked and brought them over to this new movie, and we're all doing a story about it. And my only question is, where's Jeff Goldblum?
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about fine. You want to talk about fine. Let's talk about Jeff Goldblum.
Whoa. Didn't a dinosaur get him in the last one?
I didn't watch it.
He could dig out the other end. I'm going to say this. I've never seen a Jurassic Park film. The only reason I feel inclined to see this film is to prove to the production company with my money that an openly gay man could be an active and celebrated leading man in a giant motion picture film like this. That is the only reason. I don't give a good goddamn about no fucking dinosaurs, but I just want to prove with my money that openly gay men can lead huge box office hits just like this.
Well, please do.
And that's important. That's important.
Right?
Going
about, for real, Colton Domingo. He can forefront one of these. He could have been, the Moonlight guy is incredible. I actually would go watch it for him.
I didn't even know he was gay.
Very good.
But like, just back to the whole spectacles thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that
Do you
really?
miss yours? Do you miss your spectacles?
You know what? The other day I put on some readers, and I was like, damn. Kind of look good in these. Like I forgot, I missed that look, like being able to have it a little bit.
So Trini got the eye surgery, so he got rid of his glasses that he had for many years. That's why.
Well,
I know, but I'm, as somebody over 40, you're gonna need those reading glasses anyway. So you pick out those frames. But does it make you Says the old guy here.
Well, somebody with a plaid shirt and glasses, it's not working for me, but it's definitely, working for Jonathan
Does that
Baker.
make you think differently? Because I know when somebody wears glasses all the time and they take them off, you're like, you know, it's kind of jarring. Like,
Larry, take your glasses off.
Oh,
wow!
Oh my God! Oh,
Look at you!
You can see your blue eyes that are really, it is a different vibe.
Right? All right.
Vibe.
Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. As a nonprofit LGBTQ media organization, we would like to thank our viewers for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. We'd also like to thank the generous support of Jets Pizza. Jets is the LGBTQ community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. Better, like the world's best pizza. Jet's Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ and allied community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
And I'm catching up here. So, Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
And I think I'm getting something in my invisible earpiece. I have reluctantly accepted to be Bonnie Builder's drag daughter as a baby builder for Pride Week. So, yeah, look, you've got something to look forward to. Thank you, Bonnie.
I'm gonna interrupt here. Sources are telling me that is false. I'm hearing reports that is absolutely unabashedly false. We look nothing alike.
If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, happening on our television network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat! And on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Bonnie Builder, Larry Farver, TriniDaddy, and Gregg Shapiro, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, by being transformative and being queer. Good night.
Good night.